Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. Welcome back to Breakfast with KXVU here on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. It's just gone at 4 minutes past 9, and we're about to jump into the interview hour, the section of the show where we discuss different things with different artists and different platforms from around the UK and beyond, with a strong kind of interest in underground music culture. And this is a perfect example of underground music culture kind of expanding and doing something a little bit different. We're on the phone this morning with the man behind Hive, one of my favourite kind of new school dance music brand, a group that have just kind of pushed things to a completely different level. Man like Double T joins us this morning. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm very good, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's fun getting you on the phone this morning because obviously we talk pretty much day to day across like different things.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the first time we've actually spoken voice to voice, and we've probably been known each other for over a year now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's mad how the internet works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, obviously today we're here to talk primarily about Hive as a project and as an imprint as well. But to kind of understand that as a sort of general thing, I feel we have to go back to the sort of beginning for yourself. So what was the thing that kind of pushed you towards underground dance music to begin with?
Mainly like rave culture. I mean, since I was like 15, 16 going to house parties, the thing that kind of got me into dance music was like jump up drum and bass that was always playing at house parties. And then coming to uni in Southampton, there's a really good like nightclub scene and rave circuit and sort of thing. So we were always going out to different events, seeing different people, and I just got completely obsessed with the music, and that just sparked my interest. And then the sort of person that I am, I didn't just want to be a fan of the music. I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know about the scene, about the production and everything. So I just kind of wormed my way into the scene, as it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of was making my own music. I'm basically a really big heavy metal fan, and I was playing drums for ages, and I went from a love of heavy metal and a love of clubbing, and my course was at uni was a lot of like music performance stuff, and okay. I was drumming loads, but going out more and more, I was getting more and more invested in like the club music, especially like bass line and drum and bass. So I then kind of turned my hand at production, which is something I was doing a little bit of anyway, but not loads, but it kind of just took over, and I found groups like Lengoland and that, and it was just so much easier for me to integrate myself into that scene than it was with any of the like heavy metal or stuff like that I was into at the time.
That's really interesting, man. So it was pretty much the sort of rave culture and being a part of rave culture and going to that alongside being at uni, and almost discovering those communities was the thing. It was almost like it seems like it was a pretty quick switch over.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love heavy metal. I listen to it all the time, and when shows are around, I still go to loads of them. But going to raves and something, it was that sort of feeling of community, and you see all these people with like different T-shirts. So people have like the T-shirts for like 140 and supersize and things like that, and I see those cool T-shirts, and I then look up the brand and see what they're about, and just discover all these different platforms and people. And yeah, it just felt like there was a really good sort of like community there that I wanted to be a part of.
Interesting, man. I mean, so from that, like kind of getting involved in the community on a sort of ground level, how do you then start this project, Hive? Because it's become one of the most talked about places. It's become one of the most sort of respected platforms in underground bass music, and that's from a general perspective. I feel like, how do you get something like this off the ground?
Yeah, thank you, man. That's really kind. But it kind of starts in a bit of a sour way, because I was producing myself, but I found it very hard to get sort of any sort of feedback or anything from anyone. And I kind of had a bit of a grudge at the uni, because their course, as much as I loved it, don't get me wrong, I didn't hate uni, I absolutely loved uni, but their course was very much performance-based. So whenever I came to them with a production problem, it wasn't really the right people to be speaking to.
Okay.
So I kind of thought, well, my production isn't really going anywhere, and I'm feeling a bit rubbish about it. I want to be able to help other people who are in my situation, and actually give them a platform to sort of have their music showcased. So Hive essentially was just me trying to promote, and still is, all the best up-and-coming new music and new artists in the scene. And it kind of just stemmed from there that I wanted to create a platform to showcase music that I loved and artists that I loved that other people potentially hadn't heard of.
Interesting, man. So, I mean, it's come on leaps and bounds since that sort of first original sort of idea, and obviously we saw the Bass Hive Awards last year. Like how? I mean, I keep asking how to get from here to here. I feel like I'm writing out a timeline for you of the project, but like it seems to me there's always like such huge steps being made. How do you go from being essentially almost like a sort of online blog platform to becoming essentially the awards platform for bass music?
It kind of was a natural progression because everything we were doing was keeping tabs on what was going on every single week. So, for example, every Monday we post a buzz chart, which is the top 10 releases from the last 7 days. So when it got to November, December time, we had, we started in June, so we had half a year worth of releases that we'd selected as the best release of that week. And so it kind of just made sense that we should put it out there and say which one of these is the best, and we can like present that to people, as well as represent maybe some songs that they hadn't picked up earlier in the year. And it just gave us another great opportunity to not only promote some new and upcoming artists who have had great years last year, but also actually get in touch and start networking with bigger artists who are like bringing in votes as well.
So obviously with that then you've spoken a little bit there about the votes coming in and stuff. Were you surprised with the level of interaction that they were getting, considering it was the first time you'd ran it?
100%. I was surprised at the final numbers because it blew up in a big way. Our following went through the roof during that time. But I was kind of also expecting some sort of dramatic growth because, I mean, I see it whenever people like drum and bass awards every year, even if I haven't heard of people, I'm still voting anyway. Any sort of vote, I was like getting involved. So I knew it would be something that was appealing to people. And I essentially wanted to spark a debate because that's the best way to get interaction, is potentially challenge something that people don't agree with by saying this is the best person and see what people have to say, and then they come back and say no, actually it's X, Y or Z and this is why.
I mean, you're so right, especially in that sort of awards kind of process, that idea of they are designed to spark debate. They are designed to an extent to kind of get people talking again about things that have already happened. And if anything, it's a good way of reigniting conversations and just reminding people of things that have happened. I mean, with this award, with the awards in particular then, what's the kind of future plans for them? Like, where do you want to take them?
If I'm just speaking completely from what I want to happen in the future, no matter how realistic or not it is that I want it to be as big an awards thing as any mainstream awards show, and it actually be a physical award show that you can dress up and go to. And there's a lot of sort of like, oh yeah, this underground music stuff, garage, bassline and so on is just for like going out, and it's not serious. It's just like for people who want to like get drunk, get high and have a good time, but I want it to be seen as a more like serious thing. So the awards helps people realise that not only do the fans of the genre, but the artists and the producers themselves take it seriously as well and see it as a valid thing. And if I can be a platform that displays it in that light, then I think I've done something right.
100%, man. Something I've always said about sort of fledgling scenes, whether it be music, whether it be sort of film, whether it be whatever, the thing that makes things official is the media that follows it. It's the reviews, it's the platforms that sort of come online and talk about what's happening. For me, that's what always makes something seem a lot more official, is when you do have different networks and things all going, so this is what's happened this time, this is what's happened this time. So I completely agree. That idea of almost legitimizing it is definitely something that's going to push it to the next level. I 100% agree.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that was amazing with it as well is the reach that it got internationally as well. Because in the weeks leading up, I was doing shortlists, and I was just doing them through like Instagram stories, posting a picture of maybe 5 artists who had shortlisted for a certain category and say, who else should we add to this? And I was getting bombarded with things, especially in Russia, and you know how good the Russian bass scene is. So it was really interesting to see how far these things were actually reaching.
100%, mate. Like, it's so interesting to me to hear. And with that, we are going to move forward slightly. We're going to get into one of the tracks that you sent over for today's playlisting. Obviously, we normally have artists over, but I wanted to get a bit of a display of what Bass Hive was representing, especially towards the UKG scene, which is very much the thing that is in and popping right about now. So we're going to play this one from Tough Culture alongside SG. It goes by the name of Them Days. Talk to me about this tune.
To be fair, I didn't know a lot about the UKG scene until it blew back up with all the new school artists, conductor Sammy Vergi and such recently. And I'm very grateful to Bass Hive because it's actually given me a perspective on the garage scene, and I've learned so much about it in the new school and going back and looking through the old school. And I think Tough Culture is one of those artists who has a perfect grasp of both sounds.
100%.
And this track is just makes me think of summer and like sitting out having a few drinks in a beer garden or somewhere, and maybe it's a look into where we'll be in a few months.
100%. We're going to jump into this one right about now. Just gone 9:15 here on Trickstar Radio. This one, Tough Culture, featuring SG with Them Days.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.